So the materials your dancers used to need and still need are headshots, resumes, and reels. And now, this day and age, they also need a social media account. And it's a bigger part. It's just as important as the other three, and that's why there's a whole hour seminar devoted to it. So we're going to go over the 20 things to have a dance-focused, related social media account. It's not about how to get a ton of followers. That's not what this is about. It's about how to make sure your social media is on point, that you are branded as a dancer. So first things first, and this is probably the biggest one, is it has to be set to the public. It cannot be a private account, and I'm mostly going to be talking about Instagram to start with, and then I'll let you know when we transition. When I was working at MTA, they had open calls, and when we went into the office on Monday, they were going through the headshots and resumes, and they would write down notes on the people's headshots of, oh, this girl wore the purple outfit, oh, this girl had the neon green boots, so on and so forth. But what happened was when they couldn't really remember somebody, they went to Instagram, and they looked up these dancers' names. If their Instagram was private, they threw the headshot and resume out. Time is money in this industry, and they don't have time to search you on Facebook, on Twitter. You're not on Instagram, you're not visible. Okay, we have other people that are just as good that we can sign instead. So making sure it's public is the biggest thing. The second one is they have the 2-scroll rule. So they talked about this a lot at the agency as well. So when you're on Instagram, you get 2 scrolls. 1 scroll, 2 scroll. And within those 2 scrolls, you have to have an up-to-date photo of yourself and up-to-date video footage of yourself. So you want to make sure you're posting enough that the headshot or a photo of you on your grid looks like you. I used to have bangs, and I'm starting to grow my bangs out. So I want to make sure that my most up-to-date photo of me is my hair starting to grow out, and video footage within the last 2 weeks. You don't want to have video footage that is 2 months old, because then that shows that you're not taking class, you're not posting, you're not getting video footage, and we want to make sure that you have up-to-date information on all of that. Biggest thing to help spread who you are and what you have to offer is through hashtags. So we all know what a hashtag is, but you're going to hashtag it as many times as you can. Hashtag dance, hashtag dancer, hashtag LA dancer. And this is especially useful for those of you who live in other states, because every now and then they have jobs come through, and how are they supposed to find dancers if there's not an agency in Omaha? You know what I mean? They can go to studios, but they want to get the best of the best. So if you're hashtagging it dancer or Omaha dancer, that's how a lot of jobs were booked in Chicago as well, because even though Chicago is a bigger dance city, we don't have agencies for dance in Chicago. And that's the same thing when they go to Miami, when they go to Atlanta. So hashtags are the best way for your dancer to get recognized for professional work in your city if they offer any. Tag the location. So another way just to spread yourself and your dancer, tag the location where you take class at. T-Millie, Millennium, Edge. It's just another way to get out there and connect with others around you. And same thing with brands. So if they're wearing a Nike shirt in the photo, tag Nike. They're wearing Adidas shoes, tag Adidas. Makeup, I'm a makeup guru. Tag Tarte, tag Bare Minerals, whatever it may be. You're just getting your information out there a little bit more. Okay. So my favorite one is, what should I be posting? Your headshot, your professional headshot, or just a friend of yours that can take nice photos of you, or your mom or your grandma, whoever it may be. Nice, clean photos, post them. Professional work, so if your dancer danced on the AMAs, get that video footage, put it on there. Class videos, if you guys get this footage and your dancer is visible, put it on your social media. Concept videos, if you do any workouts, like any videos that your dancers create with friends or through the studio, put that on there. Again, it's professional work. It's showing that you know how to work with a camera. Being able to dance with a camera in front of you is different than being able to dance just on the dance floor. Any promo materials of performances you have coming up. So if you have a show coming up, put a flyer up there. Just another thing to show that you're out doing professional work. Any professional print work. So if you guys are interested in modeling, again, just have them throw that up there. Your any performance videos, so even if it was from a recital or anything like that, just to show off their diversity in different styles, that's also another great thing to do. Your reel, and then any pictures with any industry figures. So if they got a photo with Katie Tate, throw it on there. It just shows that you're taking classes from many different people. What about selfies? Selfies are great, and it's okay. We don't want your Instagram to be full of selfies. That's not what it's about. It's about being able to showcase what different looks you can bring. Because on a job, we want to see, oh, she could play the girl next door. Oh, she could play a punk rocker. Oh, she could play a nerd. Oh, she could play, I don't even know. Something else, anything else. So being able to showcase those different looks. So if your dancer has like a leather jacket, throw on a leather jacket, do a smoky eye, rat the hair a little bit, show you can be edgy, but then also show in the next selfie that you could be a little bit more clean and cut. Does that make sense? Next, we're gonna have what is your brand and aesthetic? So what is it looking like visually? We don't wanna see all videos, all photos. We want a variety. We want to make sure it's colorful, it's poppin'. Some people go really deep into this and making sure they post, 2 videos and then 1 photo, 2 videos, 1 photo. And that's not, if you have the time and energy to do that, that's great, but it's not a requirement. So just making sure it visually looks good, and you have to ask yourself, what do you want the viewer to get from your social media? What do you want them to take away from looking at your social media? So the bio in Instagram, you should always have the location of where you're located at. Because if you're from Michigan, Omaha, Wisconsin, St. Louis, and there's a professional job that comes by, they want to be able to know, oh, she's located in St. Louis, and not just trying to find you off of hashtags. So it's always good to have that. If you are signed with an agency, you would put your agency there as well, MSA agency, Clear, Block, whatever it may be. And then for those of you who have younger dancers, you want to put that it's run by a parent. It just helps to make it more legit so somebody doesn't think a younger dancer is running it. And also to, scare off some of the creeps. And plus, we just want to make sure we're monitoring that because we got to protect the dancers. So also on Instagram, you can link a website to take you to a different page. And so when I was in school, they had us create a website for ourselves. I did it through Wix.com. It's not a requirement, but it's an easy one-stop shop where if you create a website, I have videos up there. I have photos up there, but I also have videos of my stuff from teaching, my comp numbers, as well as not just me as a performance artist. So if you have a website that you want to link to it, you can. Again, it's not a requirement because you're trying to make Instagram that one-stop shop, but if they get bigger, they will possibly need their own website and to promote more work. So I'm going to go back. So tagging agencies. So another way to get signed in this dance world is through tagging agencies on a post. So when should you do that? How do you know when you should tag an agency in a post and when you shouldn't? You want to do it when your grid on social media is flawless. And we understand nothing is perfect, but when you have enough headshots on there that show different looks, when you have enough videos on there that show you can do multiple styles, I can see they do jazz, they do hip hop, they do musical theater, they can do contemporary. Once you have all these things and it visually looks good, then the next video you post or the next photo you post, try tagging the agencies in there. MSA, Block, whoever it may be, you could tag all the agencies. You don't have to stick with one. And then what also I've done in the past is not only tag the agencies, but do hashtag scout, S-C-O-U-T, and then the agency letters like MSA, Scout, MTA. That's just another way for them and tool for them to try to find you and sign you. They do sign dancers off of social media, but you want to make sure after they look at that video, they're clicking to your account and they see that it's professional and it's set up and it's clean and that you know what you're doing and know how to brand yourself and who you want to be. So technical aspects of videos when we post, this is a really big thing. You never want to post a video that is portrait. You always want to post a video that is taken landscape because it helps fill the screen better on the grid and when you're viewing it. Another thing is you don't want to post a video that has too many dancers in it. I always like to say the max number should be 3. The only way you should post a video that has more dancers in it is if your dancer is front and center and it's very obvious. If you show it to your grandparent and your grandparent can't pick you out in the video, you shouldn't be posting it. So another way to make connections and build connections, because that's what this industry is all about, is making sure you tag the choreographers when you post the video. Not only are you giving credit to their work, which you should be doing, it's like you can't take a quote out of a book and not quote the book. You have to quote the choreographer, but it's also another way to build connections with that choreographer, and they're like, oh, I recognize them from class, then they're gonna, I recognize them from class, and then we're going to start building that connection, and I realize they post my work, and that's getting their work out more. So they're like, oh, I'm going to call her out a couple more times. I'm going to keep pulling her out. She posts my work. Who knows who's following her, and then they can get more dancers in their dance class as well. Another great way is you have those permanent stories and highlights. So you guys know on Instagram, you can post to your Insta story. Do we know what I'm talking about? So then you can set highlights. So what I like to do is I have one highlight on mine that has footage. So my footage is stuff I post that isn't good enough to go on my grid, and it isn't professional enough, and it's not clear enough, but I still am posting it to show that I'm working and I'm taking class. And I put that through on my highlights, but I make sure it's different work than what's on my grid, because I want to show that it's different. I don't want to see the same videos over and over again, because again, we want to show that we're taking classes and we're not seeing the same things. So now we're going to switch over to YouTube. Why should we have a YouTube or Vimeo channel? Any guesses? Why? We have Instagram. That should be like our one-stop shop, right? The biggest thing is you want to be searchable on YouTube and at least have your reel up there. And the biggest thing is when you get signed, a lot of jobs are done online. Like a lot of submissions are done online. So you want to have a YouTube page ready to go, because they might say, hey, I need you to choreograph a 30-second dance and record yourself, and we're going to submit it to the Black Eyed Peas. This happened when I was interning at the agency. So within a day notice, we had 5 girls have to submit 30 seconds of them doing hip-hop choreography to a Black Eyed Peas song. Then we submitted it to the agencies. But when you submit and you do online submissions, you're not sending them the video file, you're sending them the video link. They don't have time to download all of these files from all these different agencies. It also takes up space on their hard drive. They can't do it. So you want to have it, you can have it set privately. You have a set private YouTube link. You're sending that link to your agent's sending that all over with their stuff. So that's another reason to have that set and ready to go. So Instagram versus YouTube videos. If your video is less than a minute, put it on Instagram. I think you should put every video that it shows is clean, cut, and professional, put it on Instagram, because that's where people look first. But if you are part of a longer concept work, I would always put that on YouTube as well, so then they're not having to slide and look at the next video. It flows, and they can see that you're part of a longer work and can watch you from beginning to end without interruptions. And we have that power to show, oh, I like this part of the section of the dance better, and you're going to use that as your highlight on Instagram. But we want to make sure that we can show everything from beginning to end, and that we can dance, and that we have stamina until the very, very end. So what not to post on Instagram? I love this one. Agents, directors, creative directors don't care about your cat. They don't care about a family photo in front of the Christmas tree at Christmas time. I know it's like tempting. You're scrolling during the holidays. You're like, oh, I look cute with my family. I want to post a photo. Everything has to be dance related. And again, time is money. If they have to go searching for your dance material, they're going to move on. So you can either create a second dance account that is strictly for dance work and or you can save those photos and post them to Facebook, because realistically, they're not really looking on Facebook. The first place they're going to go is Instagram, and if they're going to go searching anywhere else, it's going to be YouTube. So post them on Facebook or get a second Instagram. And then I feel like this is obvious, but we have to just go over it. Don't post anything religious, political. You have to remember how you want to be perceived. So, for example, Madonna, she asked one of her dancers, "Do you believe in God?" And he did not. But instead of arguing with her and trying to convince her that why he doesn't believe in God, he just said, "Okay, thank you," and moved on. Your social media needs to reflect that you can work with anybody and that you're not being too boisterous. Because unfortunately in this world and in this industry, it's just, yes, ma'am, thank you, ma'am, going on. Not saying you can't have a voice, but when you're on a job, it's very important you need to move over 2 feet. Okay, great, I'm gonna move over 2 feet and I'm not gonna argue with the person because you're there, you're being paid, you have to act professional. So we try to keep it as clean as possible and go and look at Brian Friedman, as Mr. Noah talked about, Kevin Mayer. Look at their Instagrams because these are the people who I've listened to their seminars about social media, and you're using it to brand yourself and to get your work out there even more. Brian Friedman. And last but not least, I think this is great, is you want to switch a regular Instagram account to a business account. So what that does is you're still allowing yourself to post, and it asks you who you are. You can put artist or dancer, whatever it may be, but it gives you the analytics to see how many people are seeing your posts, what's the best time to post, and that just allows the Instagram algorithm. That way, more people can see your post, and then more, it's just spreading around, and people are seeing it more. Again, it's just about connecting and spreading awareness of who you are and what you have to offer, and reaching more people. Do followers matter? No, they don't. It's hard because everybody's looking at Instagram. How many followers does she have? Oh, she has 32,000. And she has 800. If you're posting good content, it doesn't matter how many followers you have. The only time it matters is if you are trying to get a sponsored brand deal. So the turning board companies, if they want to send you a turning board and want to work with you, yeah, they want you to have a certain amount of followers, but that has nothing to do with your dance capabilities. An agency isn't going to look at you and be like, oh, she only has 800 followers, but she can crush it. It really doesn't mean anything. Your followers don't matter when you walk into an audition and they're like, oh, how many followers does she have? They don't see that. They're looking at your headshot and resume. So followers really don't matter when it comes to that aspect. Quality versus quantity of posts. Now, people can argue with me until the pigs fly home. I would rather have a nice quality photo over quantity. Yes, you want to make sure you're posting footage frequently that is up to date and that is up to standard, but you don't want to just post to post. You want to make sure that it's staying dance related. Again, we're staying away from the cats, we're staying away from whatever it may be. I would rather have you post less times a week. That way it stays within your aesthetic and what you're doing. So other social media platforms, Twitter, Snapchat, Facebook, they don't matter as much, but make sure they're staying clean or that they are private. Even if your dancer is old enough to run their own social media accounts, I think even up to age 16, as a parent, make sure you're taking that phone and checking and make sure there's no creepy DMs. It happens. We see it happen. It's just for the safety of your child and for everybody in the community. So that's all I have for you guys. Do we have any questions about social media? Yes.
I can project. Until the dancer is represented by an agency, do you recommend putting direct contact information in the bio at the top of the page?
Yeah, I would. I do. Yes. Let me pull it up. She was asking, like, somebody's to look at that would be great, and I mentioned Kevin Mayer earlier. So I'm going to pull up that name.
Kevin Maher, Maher.
So Brian Friedman's is just his first and last name, BrianFriedman.
Brian Friedman.
Yes. I. How old are they? So the question was, should the Instagram handle be the name or something else, correct? I would always try to stick it with the name, your name, because it just makes you more researchable, easier to find. Researchable isn't a word, I'm so sorry. It just makes you easier to find on Instagram. I would suggest changing it now, unless you kept it and they have a ton of followers and they're known by their Instagram handle, then I would leave it. But if they don't have that many followers, I would change it. You can. So the question was having a clean grid. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. I would say, I'm not saying you have to delete everything. What you can do is on Instagram, you can archive something. So you're not deleting it, but you can take it down from the grid. I'm saying you're getting this information now. Start doing this. Start implementing what these tips I'm giving you now. If something you're like, oh, I'm not sure how that would fly or what an agency would think of that, then I would say archive it, but you don't have to delete it. Because when I started getting more focused on my Instagram, I didn't delete everything. I didn't delete my travel photos from Thailand. Anything that I thought would have been controversial, I archived. What else? Oh, direct messages. So on Instagram, you can direct message people. Sorry, the question was. Gotcha. So on Instagram, people can direct message you, just like kind of like texting or messaging on Facebook. And there are some creeps out there, so you just want to make sure that you're protecting your child, and especially with a public account, which is why you want to even check it more, because it's not private. Anybody can see it. So you want to just make sure you're going through and making sure it's clean and that there aren't any creeps. And if there are, block them. Direct messaging. So I'll show you on my phone real quick.
And to add to that, we've seen and heard from, like when we're doing these type of seminars, dancers will be reached out to from certain people, and they'll say, hey, we found this really great gig for you. They're ready to hire you. Just send me $100, send me $50, and I'll give you all the booking information, and then then you're booked on your first gig. And then the parents get so excited, they send $50, and then nothing ever happens from that. So just monitor those DMs for something like that. Normally, you don't do any work like before, you know what I mean? I mean, you don't get paid before you go work, so.
And you don't pay to work.
Yeah.
So on your grid in the top right-hand corner, there's going to be like a little arrow. You click on that. That is where your direct messages are from people who you follow. If you don't follow somebody, there is another button in the top right-hand corner that says request. So I have one request. So I'm going to click on that, and then it shows me the people who are sending me messages who I'm not following, who I might not know. And that's also where you want to check. I got offered to come be a part of this dance experience thing, and I wasn't following them, and I found it in my messages that were in that second one, and I was like, I'm going to pass on that, because I didn't really know who these people were. They weren't legit. They were a newer company, and they didn't have their stuff together. So just checking there as well. Yes, 1 second. We're going to bring you the mic.
It's just a really quick, simple question.
Yeah.
But on the resume, should you go ahead and put your handle so it's easier for an agency to find you?
I think when you are not signed, yes, because you're not going to put your contact information on your resume when you are signed. It's your agency's information. And when I was interning at MTA, some dancers would try to put their direct contact information on their signed agency resume, and we have to delete that because all of your information and all of your contracts are going directly through your agent because they're going to try to get you a better deal. They always wheel and deal. They're never, just like on a house, you're not going to take the first deal. But I think it's definitely, put your Instagram handle. Anything else? I think that might be it then. We have all of this information on our HDE website. So if you go to hdedance.com, there's all these blogs. I talk about all of this information. There's blogs about agencies. There's blogs about should you give your agents money? That's a big one. Please check that out. There are a few instances where you have to, but you never be like, an agent's never like, pay me $10,000 and then we'll sign you. It doesn't work like that. So there's a ton of blogs on there. Please check them out. Please read them. And let's chat later.
I'm just going to talk for 2 minutes here about content creating for Instagram and YouTube. So I run the social media team for Car, Rainbow, Next, and a bunch of few other brands, along with Molly back there. Hashtag Molly from Car. And you just want to make sure that you're using each platform for what it is. And you don't want to grab content from Instagram and just say, I'm going to post it everywhere, because the sizing is different. So just on the email and the group that we create, we're going to create a Facebook group for all the parents to join in. That's why on the form we ask for everyone's email. On there, I'm going to put the dimensions for all the different platforms, and your kids, trust me, they're already gonna know some of these dimensions, but when they're creating the content, just make sure that you're monitoring that the size matches that platform. So like on Instagram, when you're scrolling, you can do two sizes. You can do like the square, and then you can do the taller, like what they call the portrait. And you want to take up as much real estate on Instagram in specific, because when you're scrolling, if there's a taller one that fills up your whole screen and you can't get that sneak peek of that next post, people will spend more time on that main taller graphic. So like you'll see Car, for example, when we're posting our schedule for next year, which you're gonna see in about a day or so, we purposely made it taller, so when you're scrolling, it takes up the majority of your screen, and you'll stop there because you don't have a little sneak peek of the next one of the next square, right? So just be mindful that when you're creating all this either video content or graphics on like Photoshop or whatever, be mindful of the size. On YouTube, for example, that thumbnail is super important. So if they're posting a video, but then they don't think of shooting a photo while they're creating that video, then you have to take a screenshot from the video to post as your thumbnail. You want to make sure that that thumbnail is really engaging and it's really colorful, or you put big text on it so that when they're looking on YouTube and they're searching, it has to be something that it has to grab your attention, because you only have like 3 seconds to grab their attention. If not, they're moving on to the next video. So please make sure that if you're uploading a video, it's even more important. The video itself is not going to get watched if you don't pay attention to that thumbnail. So it's like super, super important. Look on Car's page. The guy who runs, his name is Nick Ravel, who runs our YouTube channel. He spends an hour making the video. He spends 3 hours making the thumbnail. And he'll post the video, and if it doesn't do well within the first hour or so, he changes up the thumbnail. And if it's still not doing anything, he'll change it again. And then he'll change it again until he sees that it's getting some kind of traction. And then he's like, okay, this one's good to just stay on there. So it's work. You know what I mean? And it takes some time for your dancer to schedule into their day some time for social media, to actually pay attention to it. And a lot of the blogs that Annie has on there will get you a lot of the information on what to post and when to post and all that stuff. looking at your stats, we had another guy who used to work with us, Nate Javi, at Nate Javi, if you want to follow him. Right now he's on the JoJo tour with her, but he was an analytics guru. Like, he was a video content creator, but his, like, he comes from like the banking world, so he just knew the analytics for a video, and he knew that this video wasn't gonna take off. He would watch it for like the first 5 minutes or so, and it's the time that you should be monitoring is depending on how many viewers or subscribers you have, especially on YouTube. So he would monitor for like 5 minutes and be like, this video is not gonna do good, let's move on to the next one, and he would just do that. And then choosing the best clips, he would do like an intro to every performance video. So like if there was a 3-minute jazz number, he would grab the best section of that jazz number, and he would make an intro to that video, because on YouTube, you're gonna hit play, and if it's not enticing, if it's not exciting for that first 3 seconds, you're gonna swipe and move to the next video. You're gonna stop it, go back, search for another one. So you wanna make sure that that first like 3-5 seconds is very exciting, and then crossfade or like move into the full performance. Also listing on either the tail end of the video, listing your information on there, your credits or whatever that is, like choreography or stuff like that, your dancer info. And that way, if they're watching just that one-off video that somebody posted that I forwarded to Annie's booking a gig, it has some kind of information on that video. Yeah, so those are the two main platforms. Facebook is great for the group side. You're really not gonna get stuff on your page, but like Annie was saying, turning on Instagram and Facebook are owned by Facebook. So you have to think of those two as partners. So when you turn your Instagram into a business page, like she recommended, to activate that feature, you're gonna have to make a Facebook page for the dancer, which is great, cool. It's like another page to make, right? And then you're gonna have to link them up together, and then it'll allow it to see all the analytics. If not, it's only gonna give you analytics for a small portion of it. So when you do the Instagram business, you're gonna have to go into Facebook and create that. I will load the video that teaches you how to do all that on the Facebook group, because it's a few steps. But just know that they come in hand in hand. YouTube is owned by Google, so they want you to spend as much. The more you post on YouTube, the more they're gonna dish it out to other people, because they want to keep you in that ecosystem. Facebook and Instagram want to keep you in their ecosystem. So the more you post on those, and if you share on Facebook, it's all about sharing and making viral content. So maybe if your dancer has like a bloopers reel that they want to share, and then adding a little bit of a performance to there, they'll create, if your dancer is really wanting to go into the YouTube, like that YouTube realm instead of like the professional realm, creating viral videos about dance, super popular. We were gonna try to do a bloopers reel for Car, but then I don't think parents will really go for that. But we do have an internal bloopers reel that's really good. We think it's gonna do great, but we don't post it. But yeah, any kind of viral video, dance viral video, dancing in the places where you wouldn't naturally see dance, those videos are doing really well. We have a girl that we work with for a different project. Her name is Madeline, out of South Carolina? Yeah, out of South Carolina. And she works with another company called Dancing Disc. And they have this disc that they sell. And they hire Madeline. And she takes this disc and she goes outside of like the police station. And she does some turns. And she takes this disc and her videos, I'm not sure if you've seen them, but the disc has like a handle on it, and she just carries it onto the camera frame, and then she plops it down, and then she just does a turn, picks it up, walks off. But it's not about the video of her dancing, it's more of like the location. So creating your content, if it's like a really cool hip hop dance, doing it in somewhere where it wouldn't naturally see hip hop. And then it's gonna be a thumb stopper video, especially for Instagram. I think creating thumb stopping content is super important. So 2 things: creating content for the platform, being sure that you're aware of where it is, and then just creating that that video that just makes people just stop like what they're doing to watch it. There's a ton of other things, sound, making sure it's not licensed music, because your video is going to get taken down on Instagram like immediately, and it's getting worse and worse and worse. That's why we can't really post a lot of performance videos anymore. Like a lot of our contests for car, we had to go away from posting the video, so now we just post a picture. If you guys all know about video of the week, we used to do a video of the week, which was a video that we would upload, but then we would post it, and then YouTube would take it down, or Facebook would take it down. So now it's a picture of a video, and then that's where you vote. So when your dancer is choosing music, being aware of the music that they're choosing to create the performance video. There's a bunch of places that you can go get music for like $1. Some of them are even free. It's called. There's a bunch of websites, and I'm going blank. It's called a music library. What is it, Molly? Name of the website. Oh, it's epidemicmusic.com. Epidemicmusic.com. They have an account, and you go in there and you choose, I want it to be super high energy, or this style of dance. This style of music, and it's like a big library. It's like iTunes for music that you can buy, or it's available for free. Epidemic Music. And that's what we're using when we're creating content, that we want to make sure it actually, if there's any money that we're putting into it from our standpoint, we want to make sure that it actually sees the light of day. So we'll choose music from Epidemic Sound to make sure that it actually stays uploaded and they don't take it down 20 minutes after we upload it and we spent 3 hours editing it and then it gets taken down. It's not fun. So please make sure that you guys are being aware of it. Sometimes we'll just grab like a still image and the music and we'll upload it to like a fake account just to see if YouTube will take it down. And if they don't, then we'll actually create a video for it. So that's a good way of like knowing if it's gonna get taken down or not, because there's no way of searching to see if it's gonna get taken down. And just know that if you post videos that get taken down often, your account, you're gonna receive a message that says, your account is going to be deleted. Don't do it again. And then if you do it again, your account really does get deleted. And then you have to start all the way from zero. So don't, if you're getting strikes, like, don't keep going. Go clean. Because the last thing you want to do is lose the account. And especially if you've already gotten a little bit of traction, because once you get traction on an account, then you start seeing, when you first start getting an account, you're going to get one follower and then another follower. But then once you get to like 100, then you're going to start seeing multiples of like 5 or 10. Once you get to like 1,000, you're going to start seeing tens, like you're going to get 10 every day. And then all of a sudden, you get to 20,000, and you're going to start seeing like 100, 200 a day. So it's all about like keeping going. So don't lose, make sure your dancer, A, isn't focusing on the number, because it really doesn't matter. It's about getting that one right person to watch the video, to book the job. But just know that they have, like, that number does grow, and it's creating more content and staying committed to a platform and monitoring it. Like what I do for our companies is I have alarms on our phone, and it'll be like, okay, we need to have a post for all these brands by these times. And I know that when we're working with other kids who are working on their social media, we make sure that they also have alarms, and they set up just like homework time. It's like, okay, we have 30 minutes of social media where we have to work on creating something. Even if you post it and it only gets 10 views, it's just important that you're constantly posting on something, because then it gets dished out to more and more people. The more you're committed to their company, if you really think of it from a business standpoint, Facebook and Instagram and YouTube, the more that you're committed to them, the more they're going to show your content to other people on the Discover pages. So, yeah.
And what he's saying about putting out content, if you don't have time to create a concept video, you don't have time to come up with something with your friends, that's why going to class all the time and hoping you get picked out and get video footage, that's something you can post. Even if it's not content that you're making, you're just continuing to post from those class footage.
But even, yes, 1,000%. Even if your dancer isn't already dancing at like a Millennium or any of these other fancy studios, just at your local dance studio, go in a few minutes early, shoot some content of themselves doing any kind of like combo, even if it's something that they learned during the summer program here, like redancing these performances, these combos that they're learning here, going back to the studio like next week and shooting it. I'm a big fan of archiving. It doesn't have to be, I know life gets in the way of just creating content, so you need to have a bank of content for you to be able to say, okay, Tuesday I have a party to go to, I can create something on that day and post it on that day. So I create on Google Drive, I have a folder that just says, it says car, Hollywood dance experience, and we create banked content to post in the future. And I recommend you guys do the same thing. Like if they're gonna go to some sort of event like this, grabbing even our footage and creating content that you're posting in like a month will keep your account active. The last thing you want to do is go silent, go ghost on an account, because then you have to start back with the mysterious algorithm and getting back to active usage. That's not a good thing. So just be aware of all these different things that I mentioned, and we're going to be posting on this group a lot of these topics, graphics, how-to videos, and all that fun stuff. Cool?
I was talking to Erica's mom. Sorry, where is she? Yes. And she just had her daughter just had her senior photos done. And I know it's tempting when you get headshots that you're like, oh my God, these are amazing. I want to post them all right now. Save them. Because again, if you don't have time to go into the studio and shoot some video footage, throw a headshot in there. Just something else.
Thank you so much for coming out and being part of this 1 hour-ish class on social media. Thank you so much, and we'll post it all on the web. Thanks.